My baby rabbits do die a lot. Rabbit farming has a very high mortality rate. As you guys know, these are most of the things beginner rabbit farmers do say every time. So in this video, I'm going to be explaining to you guys step-by-step ways to eliminate high mortality rate of your baby rabbit from your farm. Because as you guys know, 70 to 80% of the profit you are making from your rabbit farm comes from those little baby rabbits. Because of course, you will not be selling your mature rabbits to anyone. It's the rabbits your rabbits give birth to that you can keep to growing stage or keep to maturity and still sell them out. So all of them runs around those little babies that are coming to your farm. So if you cannot eliminate mortality rate, it means these little babies are going to keep dying in your farm. So you will not be making any money. You'll just be spending money on feed. So it's better you watch this video to the end and listen to all the guide I'm going to be giving, because in my farm here I get like 80% of the babies that comes to my farm. I lose, let me just say 20%, because surely there is no way you can eliminate mortality rate 100% out of your rabbit farm. Yes, you'll surely be having mortality rate. That particular one is for sure. Mortality rate cannot be eliminated 100% in any livestock farming at all. So if this is your first time coming across our channel, here in our channel we teach you basically rabbit farming as a whole and other livestock farming. So if that's what you find interesting, consider liking this video and subscribing to this YouTube channel. So one of the few things I like telling beginner rabbit farmers is that don't be in a hurry to start. Don't be in a hurry to start. Gain a lot of knowledge before you start rabbit farming. There's a lot of things you need to know about rabbit farming. There are a lot of secrets you need to ask people. There are a lot of things you can learn online that just a little mistake can make you lose a rabbit in your farm. So that's why I advise beginner rabbit farmers to learn a lot of things. There are a lot of videos on YouTube that can teach you things. Learn a lot of things, gather a lot of knowledge before starting up your rabbit farm. Yes. So I'm going to dive into what I want to be talking about in this particular video, so that you guys that are having high mortality rate, or if you don't want to have any mortality rate in your farm, this particular video is for you, so that you are going to be learning all what I'm going to be teaching in this particular video. So one of the few things I want to say first is that you need to develop love for rabbits. You know, these little baby rabbits that are coming to your farm, some people are even scared of touching them. Like some people can't even carry them in their hand. Sometimes when they carry them, they get to drop them with a very high force, and that might even actually kill them. Because I've seen someone that cannot hold those little rabbits, or you're a rabbit farmer, please develop the love for them. Try as much as possible to be able to hold those rabbits, those little baby rabbits, no matter how they are. That's one thing you need to learn first. Before even doing anything first, you need to learn how to hold those little baby rabbits. Learn the handling of the rabbit first, before even trying to say you want to cross them or you want to do anything to start getting babies. Make sure you know what to do when they come to your farm. So another thing I want to say is that make sure the mother rabbit is a very good mother. So if the mother rabbit is a very good mother, you will notice that once she gives birth, she's going to be breastfeeding her babies on her own. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to always be force feeding them. For those of you guys that know what force feeding is, you don't need to be force feeding them. You don't need to be doing anything. Once this mother rabbit is a very good mother, all you need to do is that you just put in her food for her inside her cage, then she's good to go. But once she's not a good mother, you always need to be force feeding them. You always need to be checking on the kids up and down. So how do you know a rabbit is a good mother? First of all, before you buy any rabbit, check the parent stock of that particular rabbit you are buying. Are they good mothers? Make sure you check those parent stock, because if the parent stock are good mothers, there is a very high tendency that they are going to be coming out to be good mothers too. Yes, if the parent stock of that particular female rabbit is a good mother, then there's a very high tendency that the female rabbit is also going to be a very, very good mother. But if the parent stock are not good mothers, then there's a high tendency that they might not also be good mothers. So when you want to buy your female rabbit, make sure you check from the parent stock very well. If they are good mothers, then you can buy that particular female rabbit. So if they are not good mothers, then it's going to stress you a lot, because you always need to force feed them. For those of you guys that know what force feeding is, that is forcing the mother to breastfeed the kid by holding her. I'm going to be putting a little clip on the screen so that you are going to be seeing what I'm talking about. So another thing is that the shape of your nesting box. So for those of you guys that don't know what nesting box is, nesting box is very, very important when it comes to rabbit farming as a whole. A lot of rabbit farmers don't use nesting box. I don't know what is the problem with you guys. A lot of rabbit farmers don't use nesting box. For Christ's sake, why are you not using the nesting boxes? You allow your rabbit to give birth on the floor of your cage and just pour her hair there and hay. you just put in hay for her on the floor. Most times you don't know that this is what kills your rabbit, because they'll be just exposed to a lot of cold will just be entering their body anyhow. You just come and see that and notice that this rabbit is already stiff in the cage. You notice that this rabbit is already stiff in the cage. Make sure you do your nesting boxes in a very right way. I'll be showing you guys a picture of how a nesting box should be in this screen, so that you know what to do before you even start up your rabbit farm. Put all these things in place. Make sure you have this nesting box. Is very, very important. You put this nesting box 3 to 4 days for the rabbit before the rabbit give birth. 3 to 4 days before the rabbit actually give birth is when you are going to put this particular nesting box. The rabbit is going to give birth in this particular inside the nesting box, because rabbits like a lot of privacy. They will not just give birth to their kids in a place that everyone and anyone will just be seeing them, and any animal will just be seeing them. They like hiding their kids. That's why even in the wild, rabbits give birth under the ground. They dig holes and give birth. So you need to give them that particular feeling as if it's inside a hole. Somehow like that feeling of inside a hole. That's what you are going to be giving your rabbits. Put in the nesting box for them and put in hay, so that they will dig the hay a bit and give birth inside there. You don't just leave them to give birth anywhere and anyhow. They won't really like it, and most times if they give birth anyhow, trust me, they might not take care of those kids. So a lot of people do a lot of mistakes when they want to make their nesting boxes. Although nesting boxes have a lot of different dimensions that you can use. Nesting boxes have a lot of different dimensions, but the one I advise is the one I used for my farm. I gave you guys the dimension of that particular nesting box video. I have done 2 videos on how to make rabbit nesting box, so you can go and check out those 2 videos, and those 2 videos will actually teach you how to make rabbit nesting box in a very, very good way. Yes, so once you have made your nesting box, the next thing I'm going to be advising you on is to avoid cold weather. As you guys know, cold can actually kill baby rabbits, even baby chicken. Cold can actually kill them. So once your rabbits are in your farm, especially once they are very, very small and they don't have any hair in their body, it's very, very good and advisable for you to avoid cold from entering their body. It's very, very advisable for you to avoid cold from entering their body, because if cold enter their body, you might just come and see them stiff. Even me here in my farm, when my rabbits give birth and the little kids are very small, you will notice that I will cover that particular front. I'll be putting a little clip how I used to do it. I'll cover that particular front when the weather is very, very cold, so that a lot of cold won't get into that particular cage. So this is what you can actually practice in your farm. Make sure you safeguard them from cold weather, because cold weather is very, very dangerous to your rabbits. Make sure you safeguard them from cold weather. Even if your female rabbit does not pull a lot of fur, you can help her remove the hair from her body and put in for these kids. Or if you don't want to do that, just make sure you cover these particular cages on a steady when once the weather is cold. But once the weather is hot, you can remove out those bags or clothes or anything used to cover it, and they will still do very, very well. A lot of people don't care. When once the rabbit just give birth, they just leave it there and the rabbit just keep dying. And when the rabbit start dying, we start to seek solution on what to do, on why the rabbit is dying. This is not the right things to do. So if your rabbit is 1 week old, I think you shouldn't even lose them again at that particular time. Most of the delegate period is from day 1 to 1 week, or let me just say day 1 to day 3. And once that at day 3, you notice that the female rabbit is breastfeeding them. She's going to be breastfeeding them continuously. Just like 10% of the female rabbit that stop breastfeeding them once they are 1 week. And most of them, it's not as if they are very bad mothers. One thing you need to know is that first time mother rabbits most times are not really most times good. At that first time of them giving birth, most times they are not really good. So you need to give them like 1 or 2 trials. Then if they don't still give birth very well, if they don't still do well with the kids, then you need to discard them from your breeding stock, because you don't need to keep rabbits that are not good mothers in your breeding stock. So another thing is for you to make sure these baby rabbits are sucking the mother's breast. Make sure the mothers are breastfeeding them very well. The way you can actually know that the mother is breastfeeding them, when you come to the cage in the morning, check their stomach. If their stomach is big and round, you know that the mother rabbit is actually breastfeeding them. But if their stomach is small and you are seeing kind of their ribs, you know that this particular rabbit is not breastfeeding her kids. Then you need to do what they call force feeding. If you don't know what force feeding is, you can go and check out the video I did on how to force feed your rabbits. You can go and check out that particular video, and the video will help you very well. Another thing is to make sure you feed the female rabbit very, very well. Because if you don't feed the mother rabbit very, very well, there's a very high tendency that she will not feed the baby rabbit. One of the things I noticed is that rabbit farmers do not feed their rabbit well. They just feed their rabbit with any kind of thing, waste, anything. Yes, rabbits eat any kind of thing you feed them, but you should feed them in a very, very good way. You should feed them a balanced diet that is very, very good for their system, so that they are going to breastfeed their kids very well. I know a lot of rabbit farmers, they just wake up, go and pick up any leaf from the bush, put in the rabbit cage, and off they go. That's not how it should be. Formulate a very good feed for your rabbits. Yes, rabbits can be sustained with just leaf, but I don't advise it. Formulate a very good feed for your rabbits so that they are going to be growing very, very well. Feed your mother rabbit, your female rabbit, very good feeds, especially when they are breastfeeding. Feed them very well. If you were feeding your rabbit once a day, start feeding it 2 times a day when she's with kids. If you were feeding her 2 times a day, start feeding her 3 times a day when she's with kids. Make sure feed does not lack in her feeders, so that she is going to be breastfeeding her babies very, very well. If feed lacks in her feeders, she might not even answer those babies, because she's actually hungry. She'll be running from the babies, even if they have start jumping out of the nesting box. You'll notice the babies will be chasing her around, and she's not going to breastfeed them. She's not going to be running around because she's actually hungry. So make sure you feed her very, very well, and she's going to reciprocate by feeding their kids. So thanks for watching, guys. Do have a nice day. Once again, as I always say, peace out.